On June 9, 2019, a Sunday, many tourists visited Pha Tam National Park in Ubon Ratchathani Province, northeastern Thailand, to admire its stunning scenery. The park's cliffs feature prehistoric paintings estimated to be around 3,000 years old, making it a renowned archaeological site that attracts numerous visitors. At 3:30 a.m., Wang Ranran was awakened by the alarm her husband, Xiao, had set to watch the sunrise at Pha Tam Cliff. Although the couple had already visited this location before, Xiao insisted on returning, saying that in his 33 years of life, he had never seen a sunrise. He expressed his deep love for Pha Tam Cliff and shared his hope of fulfilling this wish with their family of 3. By family of 3, he referred to Ranran's pregnancy, as she was 3 months along with their child. Touched by her husband's romantic proposal, Ranran readily agreed. They arrived at the Pha Tam Cliff at 5:30 a.m., shortly followed by more than a dozen other tourists. Ranran noticed that, although Xiao claimed he wanted to see the sunrise, he seemed distracted and paid little attention to the surroundings. Unfortunately, nature didn't cooperate. After waiting for over 20 minutes, the sunrise they were anticipating still hadn't appeared. Earlier, when they left their car, Ranran realized she had forgotten her phone. However, Xiao, citing an urgent matter, refused to let her return to retrieve it. Despite feeling uneasy, she decided to stay by Xiaodong's side, watching as disappointed tourists began to leave. By around 8 a.m., when it became clear that they wouldn't see the sunrise, the couple decided to head back. Suddenly, Xiao suggested they visit a nearby cliff featuring 3,000-year-old paintings. The rough terrain made Ranran hesitant, but with Xiaodong's encouragement, she reluctantly followed him. When they reached the edge of the cliff, Ranran stopped in her tracks, seeing nothing but a barren precipice. She warned her husband to be cautious and not venture too close to the edge, but Xiao ignored her and stood near the cliff's edge, gazing out for a long time. After finishing his observation, Xiao turned, walked behind Ranran, wrapped his arms around her stomach and kissed her right cheek. The loving gesture caught her off guard, and she urged him to head back. Suddenly, a powerful shove against her shoulder sent her plummeting toward the cliff's edge. Panicked and unprepared for the unexpected attack, her petite frame had no chance to resist. She could only watch in horror as she fell 112 feet down the cliff. Beyond the sound of rushing wind and sheer terror, there was no time for any other thought. In that instant, Ranran realized Xiao wanted her dead. But before she could fully process this betrayal, her body hit the ground, and she lost consciousness. Above, Xiao sat at the edge of the 112-foot cliff for half an hour, ensuring she was dead. Could a miracle save Ranran? And why would her seemingly loving husband commit such a heinous act? Let's follow the investigation to uncover how the police unraveled this shocking case. In 1987, Ranran was born into an ordinary working-class family in Nanjing, Jiangsu Province, China. After graduating from university, she began working for a travel agency where her excellent performance earned her the opportunity to expand the company's business in Thailand. This experience provided Ranran with valuable skills and connections, ultimately leading her to leave her job at the age of 27 and start her own business in Bangkok. Initially, she ventured into selling dried nuts, but suffered losses exceeding 200,000 yuan, leaving her nearly broke due to a lack of experience. Facing such a major setback and skepticism from those around her, Ranran didn't retreat to Nanjing but instead pivoted to the foreign trade industry. During the day, she managed logistics and transportation, while at night she studied Thai, sleeping only 3 to 4 hours a day. Her perseverance paid off. Before long, Ranran successfully opened her first physical store in Bangkok, followed by a guest house, a Chinese restaurant, and more. Her thriving businesses allowed her to join the ranks of wealthy Chinese entrepreneurs in the area, amassing assets worth tens of millions of yuan before turning 30. She also expanded her operations back to China, establishing a company in Nanjing. As a successful businesswoman, Ranran had little time for her personal life since starting her career. She experienced 2 relationships, both ending quietly, leaving her family and relatives worried and frequently urging her to find a partner. On May 19, 2017, during a gathering with friends, Ran met Xiao. She recalled that her most profound impression of Xiao wasn't his appearance or attire, but his familiar hometown accent. It turned out Xiao was also from Jiangsu. He even changed seats to sit closer to Ran and asked for her WeChat contact information. From then on, Xiao pursued Ran relentlessly. He frequently messaged her, often escorting her to and from her classes, rain or shine, creating opportunities for them to spend time alone. Xiao went through all of Ran's social media posts from the past 3 years, learning her preferences inside and out. He maintained a respectful distance while occasionally surprising her with small gestures. Just a week after meeting her, Xiao sent Ran a lengthy love confession, spanning hundreds of words, expressing his desire for a serious relationship. To Ran, Xiao seemed considerate and respectful, never exhibiting inappropriate intentions, which made her feel at ease. Moreover, Xiao shared a similar experience of business failure and was currently in Thailand to explore new projects, which further deepened Ran's sense of connection with him. Having little experience with relationships, Ran quickly agreed to start dating Xiao. While living together, Xiao confessed that he had been previously married, though it was an arranged marriage, and he was now divorced. He also admitted to serving an 8-year prison sentence, explaining that it was due to an unfortunate incident where he was implicated by others. Coincidentally, he claimed that during his time in prison, he perfected his Nanjing accent, which initially caught Ran's attention. Faced with these glaring red flags, Ran, with her gentle nature, chose to overlook them. Just over 20 days after they met, Xiao proposed marriage. Ran felt it was too soon and declined. However, in the following month, Xiao persistently proposed, emphasizing that time wasn't the issue, meeting the right person was, and he believed they were meant for each other. Under Xiao persistent pleading, Ran finally agreed to marry him. Having lived alone in a foreign country for so long, deep down, she may have longed for a close and happy family. On July 15, 2017, just 2 months after they met, they had a whirlwind wedding. The marriage took place during a visit back to China to see their families. Initially, Ran was apprehensive, worried her parents might oppose such a rushed marriage. However, the couple decided to register their marriage on July 15th. Xiao remarked that civil affairs offices usually don't open on weekends, and that if they happened to be open, it was fate. Ran assumed they wouldn't be open, but to her surprise, the office was indeed operating. She took it as a sign and went ahead with the registration. They did not hold a wedding banquet or inform their families, as Xiao believed his poor financial situation would be an embarrassment to her relatives. In Ran's eyes, their relationship was a romantic love story, from their chance encounter to getting to know each other and building a life together. But in Xiao mind, everything was part of a calculated plan. After graduating high school, Xiao became a drifter. Saddled with substantial debts in China, he fled to Thailand. Before meeting Ran, he had learned about this wealthy young woman through an intermediary. He knew she was unmarried and lacked much relationship experience, prompting him to orchestrate the friends' gathering to approach her. The seemingly genuine emotions that touched Ran were nothing more than carefully calculated manipulations. In the early days of their marriage, their relationship appeared harmonious. Xiao often bragged that he had sacrificed numerous career opportunities to be with Ran, which deeply moved her. However, by the second month of their marriage, Xiao began borrowing money from her. Initially, the amounts were small, and he repaid them promptly. But over time, the sums grew significantly, and he stopped mentioning repayment altogether. Additionally, Ran discovered that Xiao seemed to have debts elsewhere. She then realized that her seemingly refined husband was actually a gambling addict. At first, she trusted him and helped pay off a considerable portion of his debts. But as time passed, it became evident that his gambling debts were a bottomless pit. The man who once lovingly cared for her no longer talked about anything but money. Every conversation revolved around financial matters. Xiaodong refused to work, spending his days at home playing video games. Once, Ran even fell down the stairs, and he showed no concern. Ran suggested that Xiaodong manage her Chinese restaurant, but he dismissed it as too troublesome. He shamelessly cited his mother as an example, claiming, "A woman who truly loves her husband would willingly provide for him. Forcing me to work means you don't love me," which infuriated Ran. When Ran refused to give him more money, Xiaodong resorted to more unscrupulous methods. He began borrowing money from others under her name, and even exploited her absence to withdraw directly from her company's account, taking over 5 million yuan in one instance. Terrified, Ran reported him to the police, but Xiaodong squandered the money at a casino before any action could be taken. Following this incident, Ran proposed divorce, though it was more of a threat than a genuine intent. In her heart, she believed marriage meant enduring hardships together. Moved by Xiaodong's tears and pleas, she softened and forgave him. She even went so far as to help him pay off an additional 3 million yuan in gambling debts. On April 1st, 2019, joyful news arrived. Ran was pregnant. Initially, Xiaodong seemed indifferent, as though the child had nothing to do with him. But soon after, his attitude changed dramatically. He began accompanying Ran to prenatal checkups at the hospital and even started cooking for her at home. At this point, Ran naively believed that the responsibility of fatherhood had transformed her husband. On April 18th, Xiaodong purchased a large accident insurance policy for Ran, naming himself as the beneficiary. From an outsider's perspective, it is easy to see that Xiaodong had by then shifted strategies and begun planning her murder. He intended to kill Ran to inherit her fortune, worth tens of millions of yuan. However, it seems Ran did not realize this. By the end of May, the couple flew from Nanjing back to Bangkok, planning to renovate their home in preparation for their new family member. At this time, Bangkok was in the midst of a hot summer, and Xiaodong often appeared restless throughout the night. Whenever Ran asked him about it, he would blame the heat, dismissing her suspicions. Not long after, Xiaodong suggested they take a proper vacation, pointing out that despite being married for some time, they had never gone on a real trip together. Ran happily agreed. Xiaodong took her to 3 destinations, all of them national parks. After completing the trip, Ran felt it was time to return to work. However, Xiaodong pleaded with her, saying he wanted to visit Ubon Ratchathani and Chiang Mai because once the baby was born, they wouldn't have the chance to travel freely anymore. To spark her interest, he described the 1,000-year-old paintings at Pha Tam National Park, swearing that she wouldn't have to worry about anything as he would handle all the travel plans. Ran, not wanting to disappoint her husband, eventually agreed. Little did she know, she was stepping into a life-or-death journey. On June 7th, 2019, the couple arrived in Ubon Ratchathani. After landing, they went straight to the cliffs at Pha Tam. Ran found it odd that her husband, who had always claimed to fear heights, showed no hesitation near the edge of the cliff. In fact, he wandered around the precipice as if studying its height and slope, rather than admiring the view. On June 8th, the two visited another national park in Ubon Ratchathani. Yu Xiaodong's behavior remained the same. He was unusually fascinated by high places. Looking back now, it seems likely that he was scouting locations, searching for the perfect spot for his murder plan. On the day of the incident, June 9th, the couple was originally scheduled to fly to Chiang Mai. But as previously recounted, Xiaodong suddenly suggested returning to Pha Tam, admitting that he had never booked tickets to Chiang Mai in the first place. So, the two drove back to the cliffs at Pha Tam to wait for the sunrise. As the couple walked and talked along the cliff, a pair of hands shoved Ran off the 112-foot drop, an event we described earlier at the beginning of this story. A miracle occurred amidst the tragedy. About 33 feet from the ground, a lush tree with sprawling branches formed a natural cushion, significantly reducing the injuries from the high fall. Ran lay on the ground, her consciousness hazy, with only the sensation of pain vividly apparent. It felt as though every bone in her body had shattered. Severely injured, she couldn't cry out for help, managing only faint sounds in her semi-conscious state. This kept Xiao Dong standing atop the 112-foot cliff, unaware that she was still alive. Had he realized, a second attempt might have ended her life. After being unconscious for about an hour, Ran regained consciousness. With blood in her throat and bones piercing her skin, her attempts to call for help were hoarse and weak. Instinctively checking her body, she discovered there wasn't much external bleeding. The baby in her womb, resilient like an angel, was miraculously unharmed. Without this, a miscarriage causing heavy bleeding could have sealed her fate at the foot of the cliff. Just as she was nearing despair, a lost female tourist stumbled upon her. Ran was rushed to the hospital. Before the emergency treatment began, she faintly saw Xiao Dong arriving at the scene, feigning the concern of a worried husband. Summoning her remaining strength, she weakly cried out, asking why he had done this. Her voice, however, was too faint to be understood. Xiao Dong gently stroked her face, first shouting theatrically, "Honey, where did you go? I was so worried." Then, lowering his voice to a sinister whisper near her ear, he hissed, "Shut up! No one here speaks Chinese, and no one's going to save you." It turned out that while leaving the tourist site, Xiao Dong's car had passed an ambulance speeding in the opposite direction. Suspecting it might be headed to rescue Ran, he turned around and followed it to the hospital. During questioning by Thai police, Xiao Dong pretended to be a helpless husband, claiming that he was away using the restroom when Ran fell off the cliff and had no idea what had happened. Since there were no surveillance cameras near the cliff and no witnesses, Xiao Dong believed that as long as he could control Ran, he could escape the law. When Ran regained consciousness after anesthesia, Thai police attempted to take her statement. However, due to her severe injuries, she couldn't speak fluently. The police assumed she didn't understand Thai and brought in a Chinese interpreter. Just as Ran was about to reveal the truth, the interpreter informed her that Xiao Dong was outside. Moments later, Xiao Dong entered the room, sending Ran into a state of panic and despair. Under Xiao Dong's whispered threats, she realized that refusing to cooperate could lead to another attempt on her life. Afterward, Xiao Dong closely monitored Ran and continued looking for opportunities to kill her. On the second day of her hospitalization, he tried to remove her oxygen mask and caused a commotion, demanding her discharge. "I'm her husband, and I have the right to decide her life or death," he declared. However, the hospital refused his unreasonable request. During her statements to the Thai police, Xiao Dong remained by her bedside, glaring at her menacingly. For her safety, Ran was forced to lie, claiming she had accidentally fallen off the cliff due to dizziness while standing too close to the edge. With Ran's cooperation, Xiao Dong became increasingly less cautious. Believing she wouldn't dare accuse him, he agreed to let a mutual friend visit her in the hospital. The friend, who had rushed to Thailand, found the situation suspicious and noticed unusual dynamics between the couple. Out of caution, the friend secretly recorded a conversation between Ran and Xiao Dong, which later became critical evidence for the police. On June 13th, the fifth day of Ran's hospitalization, Xiao Dong temporarily left the hospital room in the morning to buy breakfast. Confident that Ran wouldn't report him after her compliance in recent days, he didn't anticipate what would happen next. Shortly after he left, Ran's primary doctor entered her room. Ran seized the opportunity to confide in the doctor, revealing that her fall was not accidental. However, she refrained from naming her attacker for safety reasons. Understanding her predicament, the doctor immediately transferred her to a general ICU ward. This ward was busier, restricted family access to set visiting hours, and offered increased protection. For the first time, Ran was free from Xiao Dong's constant surveillance and had the chance to contact the police. On the sixth day, Thai police sent plainclothes officers to take Ran's statement during Xiao Dong's absence. Upon learning the truth, they obtained an arrest warrant that same night. On the morning of the seventh day, as Xiao Dong entered the hospital, the police arrested him. Recalling the moment Xiao Dong was taken into custody, Ran said, "From his expression, I saw hatred and disbelief, almost as if he were thinking, 'Why aren't you dead yet?'" Faced with the police's accusations, Xiao Dong erupted in anger. loudly accusing Ran Ran of paranoia caused by her pregnancy and claiming she was falsely blaming him. There was no doubt, Xiao Dong was a remorseless predator. He had meticulously targeted Ran Ran not only for her wealth but also to take her life. After his plans were exposed, he showed no remorse and even continued to intimidate his vulnerable wife. Xiao Dong's mother also tried to intervene, calling Ran Ran to plead for forgiveness. When Ran Ran refused, the woman lashed out, accusing her of being petty and saying, "If you didn't die, why did you need to call the police?" She showed no concern for Ran Ran's condition. 8 days in intensive care, 5 surgeries, and debilitating injuries. Ran Ran endured a long recovery. She was confined to a wheelchair for an extended period, and her most severe injury required nearly 90 stitches. Her upper and lower body functions were severely impacted, particularly her legs. Her hip bone was fractured, a section of her femur was completely shattered and could not be reconnected, and her kneecap was destroyed. The bones in her foot's arch were broken. Her big toe was split but remained attached, while the other 4 toes were all fractured. Additionally, the broken bones in her metacarpals caused her to lose most hand functions, leaving her unable to grasp or rotate objects. It took Ran Ran 3 years to stand on her own again. Despite her optimism and strength, recounting the ordeal often brought her to tears, especially when she spoke about the child who saved her life but never had the chance to see the world. Her baby, with incredible resilience, had kept her alive. But due to the numerous medications and her weakened condition, the child's heartbeat stopped in the 5th month of pregnancy. Tragically, the baby's death was indirectly caused by its father's actions. In March 2020, Xiao Dong's trial began in Bangkok. He adamantly claimed innocence, saying, "I had no idea what happened. I was just in the restroom for a moment, and Ran Ran must have wandered too close to the cliff and accidentally fallen." Fortunately, the recording left by their mutual friend proved critical. Xiao Dong's threats by Ran Ran's hospital bedside contradicted his courtroom claims, exposing glaring inconsistencies and sealing his fate. In the end, Xiao Dong was convicted of attempted murder, sentenced to life imprisonment, and ordered to pay Ran Ran approximately 1.19 million yen in damages. However, he immediately announced his intention to appeal the verdict in court. Before the appellate trial, Xiao Dong's mother once again approached Ran Ran, hoping she would show leniency. When Ran Ran firmly refused, the mother caused another scene and repeatedly threatened her. Ironically, Xiao Dong brought in 5 friends to testify that his relationship with Ran Ran had been excellent. These friends, however, were former accomplices in his past thefts that had landed him in prison. During the appellate trial, the unexpected happened. The judge overturned the initial verdict, reasoning that Xiao Dong had not brought a rope, knife, or other tools for the act, and therefore could not be convicted of premeditated murder. His sentence was reduced to 10 years in prison. The glaring contradiction here, of course, is that Xiao Dong didn't need additional weapons. He had always planned to use his hands as his murder weapon. Faced with this decision, Ran Ran declared she would not accept it and vowed to persist in her appeal to seek justice. By this point, most of her assets had been squandered by Xiao Dong, and the lengthy legal process had nearly depleted her savings. To fund her legal battle, she began earning money through live streaming platforms. Unfortunately, this led to accusations and insults from people online, accusing her of exploiting her tragedy for attention. Despite the physical and emotional pain, Ran Ran refused to give up. During this time, she was unable to divorce Xiao Dong due to Thai law, which required her to wait until the conclusion of criminal proceedings before filing for civil divorce. If she sought a divorce too hastily, she would have to accept the reduced 10-year sentence for Xiao Dong, something she could not agree to. Finally, on June 3, 2023, a new verdict was announced. Xiao Dong was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 33 years and 4 months in prison. While this outcome still didn't satisfy the public entirely, it was significantly better than the previous light 10-year sentence. With the case resolved, Ran Ran could finally proceed with her divorce. In an interview, when asked, "Do you still believe in love?" she optimistically replied, "Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Love is still real and beautiful in this world. I just didn't have the luck to find it, but that doesn't mean others won't. Many online critics accused Ran Ran of being naive and blinded by love, failing to recognize that Xiaodong had meticulously planned to manipulate her emotions from the start. He had deliberately catered to her preferences, fabricated an ideal persona, and acted no differently than a professional con artist. As for Ran Ran, her courage and intelligence during her time in the hospital, her resilience and optimism in facing her pain, and her willingness to share her story to warn others have all been selectively ignored by some on social media. Accusations such as, "She hasn't even divorced him yet," overlooked the complex legal challenges she faced and the immense pressure she endured. In conclusion, I sincerely wish Wang Ran Ran a speedy recovery and hope she finds the freedom and happiness she truly deserves. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your opinions in the comments below. Goodbye, and see you next time.